The latest that we are hearing at this moment is that at 11:15 a.m. the court is likely to pronounce its judgment. Of course, this final time will be known in just a short moment from now. We've also seen that a number of people early this morning are also arriving at Galaxy Apartments in Bandra, which is the residence of Salman Khan. Just a short while back, his brother, who's also the producer and actor, Arbaz Khan, has reached Galaxy Apartments. The visuals on your screen right now. Sohail Khan has also reached Galaxy Apartments. His friends and family are presently at his residence. He is expected to leave his residence for the court any minute now. He's supposed to be there by 10:30 and 10:45. 11:15 is what we are expecting is going to be the time when the court actually pronounces its judgment in this case. We have Biswajit Bhattacharya, former Additional Solicitor General of India, in the studio with us. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. The one question that we have, in fact, been talking about through the course of this particular broadcast is the fact that how difficult cases like hit and run are, say, for prosecution to prove. Because case after case, we have seen that the onus is always put on the prosecution to prove that the other person is guilty, rather than the defense actually trying to prove the innocence. How difficult does it become, particularly in this case which has gone on for 13 years? Charges have been changed.
I agree with you that in these kind of cases where there is a kind of hit and run, alleged hit and run rather, and then it takes years and years, sometimes the witnesses become hostile, and actually who was inside the car and who was not inside the car, basics even such as these, when these become a subject matter of controversy and dispute, it becomes a very difficult job for the judge and the sort of jury to weigh the evidence is concerned. And contemporaneous evidence is always lacking in these cases, So therefore, I entirely agree with you. It becomes a very, very Herculean task, if I may say so, for the prosecution to prove the case beyond reasonable doubts. And sometimes, there is a slip up on the part of prosecution also, that, they always are not able to get the best witness to be examined, and all these tests which are supposed to be carried out. So in this type of cases of road accidents, I think the situation is very, very complex, and until and unless, there is a serious commitment on the part of witnesses as well as, if I may say so, the prosecution and the state agencies, to prove a case becomes very, very difficult.
Absolutely.
Very, very difficult.
Absolutely. And also to go into each and every detail threadbare for the prosecution to mount a case, for the defense to be able to prove the innocence.
Correct.
Especially in a case like this, which is, I would say, high profile, where there is constant spotlight. Correct. For the prosecution and defense to carry out. But what is most important here is that it's justice at the end of the day which needs to prevail, and that's exactly what we are expecting also today. Justice Dhingra, the point that we were in fact discussing, and you actually elaborated in greater detail, would you admit or would you like to tell us a little whether these hit and run cases or road accident cases are actually very complex and very difficult to deal with for say, for instance, for a judge?
You see, in all hit and run cases, if the vehicle is known as to which was the vehicle who had hit and run away, then under Motor Vehicle Act, a notice is served to the owner of the vehicle to disclose as to who was driving the vehicle at that time. And that becomes important. If the driver of the vehicle is disclosed by the owner, then it is not a difficult case. Here, you see, suddenly if the defense takes the view that after 10 years or 11 years, that no, not X but Y was driving, such an evidence cannot be believed by anybody, because you get an opportunity under Motor Vehicle Act. A notice is served and you are supposed to reply to the notice that who was driving the vehicle at particular date and time when accident took place. So in such cases, it is not difficult to find out who was driving. Now, who was inside the vehicle apart from driver is not at all material, because the only person who can be charged is the driver. So, in hit and run cases, if the vehicle is known, it is not a difficult case. Circumstantial evidence is sufficient, and the onus as to who was driving the vehicle at that particular time is on the owner. Under section 106 of Evidence Act, he is the best person to know who was driving his vehicle.
Absolutely.
So that way hit and run cases are not complicated. But those cases where the vehicle is not known, they actually, unless vehicle is traced and known, then you cannot trace the case at all. And the case is not complicated because vehicle is not traced. So you cannot charge anybody. Where vehicle is traced, the case is not complicated unless lies are told about who was driving. Now if the owner may be driving himself, he may put up in the front his driver and say that the driver was driving, and the driver may at the behest of the owner admit that yes, I was driving. So in such cases it becomes very difficult for the court to find out who was the actual driver.
All right, a very, very significant point, Justice Dhingra, because how you are actually putting it actually, you know, shows us or tells us how, you know, the law is actually looking at, you know, cases like hit and run. Let's quickly get in a ground report at this moment. Just a short while back, we did tell you that Arbaz Khan as well as other family members have in fact arrived at the residence of Salman Khan. We are expecting him to leave any minute now. Let's quickly take a look at these ground reports that were sent earlier in the day.
We are right now at Sessions Court, and since it's the D-Day for Salman Khan in the 2002 hit and run case, there is a huge number of people that are expected to come around at Sessions Court, and that is why, as you can see, this is a barricade that has been put for the media. There's a huge contingent that is expected of media personnel here. Apart from that, Mumbai police personnel, you can see some of them going into the court right now. There are also some stationed right outside with vans. There are policemen stationed in vans, not just on this particular section of the road. There are the other side of Sessions Court as well. There are Mumbai police personnel who have been stationed. And this is just not outside. Inside the courtroom, we will be seeing a few police personnel who will be stationed there as well, to check on the identity cards of people who are going in, whether they are lawyers, whether they are reporters. No fans will be allowed inside the court, but Mumbai police is trying their best to keep the law and order situation here in the Sessions Court up to mark. With cameraman Bangesh Sawant in Mumbai, Vidya for Headlines Today.
That's right. That was Vidya sending us a ground report at this moment. Let's now you know, cut across to the other side of this particular story, where we'll be able to get greater understanding from Minty Tejpal, who's a film critic, joining us from Mumbai, as well as Mr. Dilip Cherian. The, you know, as far as Bollywood is concerned, what really is the expectation as far as Bollywood is concerned? We have seen in the past that as far as Salman Khan is concerned, Minty, he's, as Mr. Cherian actually put it, he's actually a money machine. He's the most bankable actor for Bollywood. So obviously Bollywood is a little, you know, watching very closely whatever is going to happen in court.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Salman has been doing extremely well over the last 5-6 years. And not just that, his father, Salim Khan, is a very respected writer who's written some of the greatest blockbusters. So he's a traditional Bollywood family. He's one of the big pillars of Bollywood. And obviously Bollywood is very concerned where this is going down. And it's obviously a very trying time for Salman Khan and his family.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Cherian, you know, you were saying that there is a clear differentiation between brand Salman and brand Bollywood. And that distinction has to be understood very clearly. So whichever way this verdict actually goes, that distinction will have to be made clear. If you could just elaborate on that point.
Yeah, you know, let's take a look at some big figures. Today's Salman's annual endorsement income is in the region of 240 crores. And he is worth about 800 to 900 crores by most estimates. So here is a man who is worth a lot and earns a lot. But that, to my mind, because of his image of being a bad boy, having been cultivated over the last 20 years, may or may not be affected substantially by the verdict, because he's going to get a lot of time, he's got several places to appeal, all of that will happen.
Yeah.
But take another statistic. You know, in the 25 years that he's been in film, since 1988, he's done 66 films as hero. So this is, as I said earlier, a machine for Bollywood, and his films earn profits of about 200 crores a year. So he's generating that kind of money for the industry. So if he's plucked out of the industry temporarily, then industry itself takes a little bit of a downturn. You know, and that's one anxiety. But of course, the good thing about Bollywood is in the last 5 years, you've seen the emergence of a new age set of heroes.
Right.
So does it matter at 49 years? And if he's put away for 10 years, would he matter at 59? Those are questions that industry needs to figure out yet.
Absolutely. As of now, at this moment, whether it is Minty or you, everybody feels that he is a highly bankable star.
Absolutely.
As far as Bollywood is concerned. As far as producers are concerned, they get good ROIs or return on investments. Let's quickly cut across now to the Sessions Court, where Headlines Today's Ankit Tyagi now joins us. Ankit, it's over to you. Just explain to us or show us this tremendous amount of interest as far as the media is concerned, as well as fans of Salman Khan are concerned in this particular case. I believe there is a big team up there.
Well, Sanket, today the only difference is that the police this time has made very adequate arrangements as far as the fans are concerned. Last time I was speaking to the reporters here, and they said when Sanjay Dutt's verdict was pronounced, the fans were allowed inside, and that created a huge scene as far as this entire Sanjay Dutt's verdict was concerned. So this time the fans have not been allowed, and if you can see around me, massive police arrangements. In fact, just as we were talking, there have been few vans of the police that have come in. They are now overtaking the security. Behind me is the Sessions Court of Judge D.W. Deshpande. He's the man who is going to pronounce the verdict in this 13-year-old case. In this, of course, not only the industry, not only the fans, but there are a lot of people waiting to hear this verdict, along with the media, along with others, just to see how this case that has seen 13 years to come to this stage, major twists and turns, where does the verdict go? Well, Salman Khan, there are two basic problems that Salman Khan, in fact, would be facing in this case as far as the prosecution is concerned. They say they have a very solid, watertight case. 27 witnesses were presented by the prosecution, and their argument is that 304B, the part 2, that is, culpable homicide and not amounting to murder, in which the maximum punishment is 10 years, completely sticks, because Salman Khan was, according to them, drunk. That has been proven by the tests that were done, and the blood level clearly showed that he was, the alcohol content in his body was more. So that is something that they are saying is going to go in their favor. As of now, the defense is mainly banking on the testimony of witness number 28, and the only defense witness who has in fact come at the very late stage of this trial, that is the driver, Ashok Singh of Salman Khan. He's saying that he was driving that Toyota Land Cruiser on that fateful night of 28 September 2002, and it was after a tire burst and the steering wheel that jammed, this accident took place. Now the judge, of course, will have to make sure that when he comes out, he will, of course, be giving a judgment. And if Salman Khan is pronounced guilty, that would be if he's satisfied with the prosecution's argument that are beyond a reasonable doubt. So on one hand, there are Salman Khan's family and fans praying that he goes scot-free. On the other, even on social media and otherwise, people are saying that this will be a test on whether the high-end might, what sort of a judgment are produced.
Now, Ankit,
so at 11:15, we are expecting that behind me, where amidst this massive arrangement of media, the police, Salman Khan would be brought into this, will come in fact to this Sessions Court, where his fate will be decided. And as you were talking, he's a money minting machine for the industry. So a lot of people, those who have invested in him, about 280 crores, I've been told, is bank riding on him as of now. Everybody would be waiting with a bated breath about this verdict.
Now, talk us a little about what the prosecution and defense have really argued over the past. And these are visuals, in fact, before we actually carry on that discussion, these are visuals coming in from Galaxy Apartments in Bandra, where you can see that Salman Khan is now leaving. He's sitting in his Mercedes SUV at this moment. He'll be moving or proceeding towards the court. He's in the vehicle along with his family. You can see that Salman Khan actually now sitting in his car. He will be moving towards the Sessions Court. He's hugging his father at this moment. Remember, the entire family is with him at this moment at Galaxy Apartments. That car is expected to move out of Galaxy Apartments any minute now. It will take him about an hour. We have seen in the past also when he has personally appeared in the Sessions Court, it has taken him about an hour to reach from Galaxy Apartments to that Sessions Court in Greater Mumbai. That vehicle about to leave at this moment. It's a long, winding, 13-year wait at this moment. Last minute hugs at this moment. You can see he's with his family and friends. Now seated in the vehicle. It's expected to move any minute now. It's being escorted by another vehicle of maybe a family member, maybe a relative. The Salman Khan now moving towards the court, the Sessions Court in Mumbai. At around 11:15 is when we are expecting that the court is going to pronounce its final judgment in this particular case, as we have in fact been discussing, as we have been monitoring here also for the past many years. On Headlines Today, it's been a 13-year long wait for justice. Either way, Salman Khan as well as others, the prosecution or the defense in legal terminology as it is called, will be expecting a sense of closure at this moment. Salman Khan seated at the navigator's seat, right beside the driver at this moment, moving slowly outside his Bandra residence, Galaxy Apartments. More than 100 cameras there monitoring each and every movement of Salman Khan. There's a huge traffic jam. The street outside Bandra Galaxy Apartments is completely chock-a-block. So Salman Khan has now left for the Sessions Court at this moment. Ankit, these are pictures that we are getting in of Salman Khan actually leaving his residence. He's moving towards the Sessions Court. There are his bodyguards who are in fact escorting his vehicle at this moment. Can you also take us through the point that we were actually discussing, Ankit, the argument of the prosecution and the defense in this particular matter, particularly on the point of who was driving the car? I mean, after 11 years, the defense did put up a driver and said that the driver was actually driving the car, but the prosecution never agreed to that. They, in fact, even during the course of the court proceedings, they even said that the driver is lying. We'll try going across to Ankit in just a short moment from now, but here you can see that the vehicle has in fact started moving. We can see that this is Bandra, the cavalcade, the motorcade of Salman Khan is now slowly proceeding towards the Sessions Court. We are getting you all the latest. These are latest pictures. We'll get you also at 11:15 what the court is actually going to tell you or tell us about this particular judgment. After 13 years, we are expecting that there will be a verdict in the Salman Khan hit-and-run case. Mr. Bhattacharya, the point that we were in fact discussing, the arguments of the prosecution and the defense, particularly about the driver. Justice Dhingra was also mentioning that as far as the Motor Vehicles Act is concerned, it states very clearly that a notice will be sent to the owner of the vehicle to explain who was driving the vehicle at that moment. So after 11 years, if the defense were to produce someone, the prosecution jumped right back. These are all court proceedings, by the way. The prosecution jumped right back and said he's lying.
Well, the prosecution will be justified in making that kind of argument, because if abruptly the driver comes up after about a decade and the driver, you know, makes a statement that I was myself driving the car, it is unlikely to be believed by the court, in my respectful view. But at the same time, you know, just because the Motor Vehicle Act says that by issuing notice to the owner of the vehicle, you can sort of find out who was actually driving the car, I'm afraid that may be stretching the law of evidence a bit too far. Because, you know, you may be owning a car, and if you are not actually driving, then who is driving if you are not in the car yourself? If the owner is not in the car himself, the owner will never get to know, I mean, sort of who is sort of driving the car. You may have handed over the possession of your car to somebody.
Right.
Then how that car has been used or misused, the owner will never get to know. So Justice Dhingra is absolutely right as a broad proposition of law that under 106 of the Indian Evidence Act, you know, the obligation is on the owner to say that who was driving the car. But in this particular case, the owner perhaps himself is Salman Khan. And if owner is Salman Khan and the owner himself is making a statement, howsoever sort of belatedly, that he was not driving the car, certainly this is a piece of evidence, but it will not have much weight in my view because it came too late in the day. So this will be surely an extenuating circumstances on preponderance of sort of probability. It is unlikely to be given due weightage by the court.
Okay, let's wait for 11:15 a.m. when we will be expecting to hear from the court. Justice D.W. Deshpande is going to pronounce his judgment in this particular case. Remember, as we have in fact been telling here on Headlines Today as well, there have been a degree of twists and turns as far as this case is concerned. Some fresh charges were pressed against Salman Khan in this particular case. He was tried under, you know, fresh sections of or new sections of the law at this moment. We'll try going across to all our reporters at this moment. What you see on the right-hand side, left-hand side of the screen right now is Salman Khan actually moving towards the court, the Sessions Court in Mumbai. On the right-hand side are the visuals of about 5 minutes back when Salman Khan left his Galaxy Apartments residence. He kissed and hugged his family members, his father. We'll try to take out that portion also, that video clip in just a short moment from now. Kissed and hugged his family members while he actually goes. It's an important date Salman Khan has with justice at this moment. It'll be crucial. The point also that is being made by you know, Minty Tejpal and Mr. Cherin is also how Bollywood is so interested at this moment, interested or concerned rather, as far as this particular case is concerned. Minty, we have seen that this is not the first time Mr. Salman Khan has actually had a run-in with the law. Can you take us how Bollywood actually perceives Salman Khan?
See, Salman is a superstar who's loved by the masses and he has immense respect.
No. I'm not talking about the masses. Masses we all know. How does Bollywood perceive? Yeah. Is he just a money minting machine? Is there only a commercial interest in Salman Khan?
He carries a lot of weight in Bollywood, and he carries a lot of weight in Bollywood because he has not only delivered a lot of hits over the last 6-7 years. You know, he's had a resurgence since Dabangg, but he's also motivated and encouraged a lot of fresh talent. He does that regularly. He helps people out. And some way, the fact that he's Salim Khan's son also counts for a lot, because Salim Javed delivered some of the biggest hits in the 70s and 80s. So he's an industry child. He's extremely, well, he's very powerful. That's the word I would use. You know, he's very powerful in the industry, and which is why news channels don't have a lot of people from the industry speaking. That's why you have Dilip Cherian and me speaking on this issue, and there are no directors or producers or actors speaking. And the reason for that is this. Because they are worried where this would go and how this would turn out.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I have to say something. You know, beyond the legal point, there is another thing, which is Salman knows the truth of what happened. So he will have to reconcile with that for himself. That's a pretty big challenge. You know what? The legal battle is something that we will be deciding in a few hours. We'll know which way the cookie crumbles.
Let's quickly, Minty, yes, let's quickly get in a word from Manisha Meheldar, who joins us from outside Galaxy Apartments. Manisha, you were there when about 5 to 7 minutes back we saw Salman Khan actually leaving his residence. Just describe to us what you saw. Just describe to us what you saw 7 minutes back happening outside Galaxy Apartments?
Well, it was quite a sight, I must say, with all eyes on Salman Khan exiting his main gate of the Galaxy Apartments, right from curious onlookers, fans, the media contingent, the police constables, his bodyguards, everybody was in their positions, and all eyes were on Salman Khan waiting to step out of that gate. There was a convoy of 3 cars that followed his car. He obviously, as what appeared, he seemed pretty calm and composed, waving out to his fans or everybody who's waiting, to see how this entire crucial verdict unfolds. The entire media contingent hovered around his car and making it very difficult for the car to finally take off on its way to the Sessions Court.
That's right, Manisha. Do stay on with us. We'll continue our coverage. It's time for a short break at this moment. After the break, TV Today Network's consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai joins you with all the latest. Remember, this is a very, very important day as far as the Salman Khan hit-and-run case is concerned. Back in a moment.
13 years and 28 witnesses later, Mumbai court set to rule in the infamous hit-and-run case. Judgment day for Salman Khan. As Bollywood and fans await verdict with bated breaths, stay with headlines today for all the latest.